All right, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our sixth annual Philly Black Trans History Panel. Happy Black History Month. Happy Black Trans History Month for everyone. Before we start, we would like to have 1 minute of silence for all the folks that we have lost, all the folks that are no longer here with us. Usually we would say the names of so many people, or we would start off with a slideshow, but because it's been about 50, almost 50 to 60 people, and it has been a depressing time for a lot of us. And not to mention that there's so many names that we just don't know that we want to also honor. Um, right now, we're just going to honor them with this 1 minute moment of silence. So anyone that you can think of, any names that you can think of, anyone that we have lost, we're just going to use this 1 minute starting now. Thanks, everyone. Rest in peace to all of those folks that we have lost. And we're going to start off with one of our panelists, who is also a singer. Chef Marku, who folks in the community also knows as Marcus, is going to bring us in with our national anthem.
Hi, everybody. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Thank you.
Definitely give Marcus his roses while he is here. That was really good. Thanks so much, Marcus. So, I also want to, I forgot to do this, but I also want to give a special round of applause and a thank you to our interpreter for tonight, LC. So on to present our amazing moderator, Cecily Smith. Cecily Smith is a fat, crafty, kinky, poly, pagan, genderqueer who is also an organizer with Philly Trans March. They go by they, them pronouns, and they are an awesome individual, person, and I don't want to say tireless, but I want to like just a really good advocate overall. So that is who our moderator is tonight. And so for that, I present to you Cecily Smith. I love you.
Hello, y'all. I'm a tired activist, is what I am, but I'm here and very excited to have a chance to talk with our brilliant panelists and help them make the heavens ring. What I'm going to do is read the bio of one person at a time, and then when I'm ready to ask you your first question, I'll read your bio, if that makes sense. So first we have Jasmine Henderson, using she, they pronouns. Jasmine, as a proud 45-year-old originally from New Jersey, Jasmine has been organizing with ACT UP Philly since 2013. I'm going to speak a little more slowly. Sorry about that. ACT UP Philly has done a lot of work addressing social inequities that threaten people living with HIV/AIDS and those at risk of infection, both in Philadelphia and around the world. Currently, their focus has been showing how the disparities with COVID mirror that of HIV and putting pressure on the Philadelphia Office of Homeless Services to fix their issues. Jasmine, first question for you. What inspired you to join ACT UP Philly?
Oh wow, I had no voice for like 30 seconds. As Act Up, without Act Up Philly, I wouldn't be here. I mean, period, point blank. Like, I'm 45, I'm HIV positive, and if it wasn't for them and the work that they did in the early 90s getting people HIV meds, I wouldn't be here to tell my story. So, in my eyes, I've always been a community driven person. So it just made sense to join a group that was all about helping out the community.
Excellent. Wonderful to have you here. I'm going to introduce next Phoebe. Phoebe Van Cleef, using she, her, and goddess pronouns, all accurate. Phoebe is a musician, as well as a subject matter expert on Black queer living disparities and youth collaboration. She also functions as a trans health activist and a homelessness and sex work activist. Her healing-focused mental health framework centers personal goals, progresses, and holistic wellness. Phoebe, welcome. Beginner question for you. You're originally from Texas. What inspired your move to Philly?
I actually ended up being scouted for a job here in Philly. It was like my first like full-time position, so I was like really excited. Unfortunately, it was at the Attic Youth Center, but yeah.
Sorry about that. We'll leave it there. Yes. Now introducing Icon Ebony Fierce, using she, they pronouns. Icon is a Philadelphia-based performance artist that has one mission: to change people's perception of artistic expression, one subculture at a time. Icon has a background in theater, dance, and spoken word performance. Icon has been community organizing and curating events all throughout Philadelphia since 2012. Icon also specializes in burlesque performance art and drag. Their content includes body positivity, political and social issues, and gender equality. They're also a curator for festivals like Freakin' Queer, Hot Bits Film Festival, and more, always centering QT BIPOC people with an alternative point of view. Icon is currently a board member of the William Way Community Center. Welcome, Icon. First question for you. Hey, how'd you first get into performing?
I got into performing just off random, just being random and being with friends. One of my friends was planning a like a party at Come From Necktie, and it was also it was all mostly straight people, and I was always like expressing myself aesthetically, from the jump. So I had an interest in starting hosting. So I started hosting that, And, I had a little bit of eyeshadow at the time. So it kind of made me want to get into more performing. So I got into music. I started going to drag shows and queer shows at Taboo. And then I saw a whole bunch of big old drag queens. And I learned that drag queens are scary after all. So I just jumped into that world.
Excellent. So, yeah. Thank you. And our next panelist is Marcus James, he, him pronouns. Marcus Christopher James is a 26-year-old singer, as you can tell, musician, actor, and chef. He was born in Philadelphia, PA, and raised in Fort Myers, Florida. He's currently the proud company owner of Palais Marcoux, which I think I've done the French correctly, International Kitchen, which provides luxury private chef services. During the Halloween season, Marcus also excels as one of the best actors in America's #1 haunted house, Terror Behind the Walls, Eastern State Penitentiary, and is one of the 8 singers headlining the show for thousands. Look out for his single, Dreamin', dropping in the next 2 months. Marcus, welcome.
Well, thank you.
First question for you. As a chef and singer, who has been your biggest inspirations? Any favorite singers or celebrity chefs, which is hard to say?
Yeah. So I thought about this. I thought about this a lot, and I actually don't know how to pick the singers that I love so much music and so many different types of music. But I will say, what really gets me grooving is Eric Benet. What a man. Eric Benet and Donny Hathaway, and then a little bit current time, Jasmine Sullivan and Beyonce, because Beyonce, period. So those would be my musician stuff. And then as far as the chef world goes, I've been following a Black queer chef known as Kwame Anchinui, and I read his book some years ago, and it kind of helped propel my career and what the things I was doing, and kind of following his blueprint. And I just left it there. And that's been one of my biggest influences as far as how he has his restaurants and how he got started. Even the culinary school that he went to, I got accepted to that one as well. Just because I read his book, I went and applied to see if I had the guts, if I had the brinks. And I did, and they accepted me, which is great, which is the International Culinary Center of New York. So that was the school that I chose just because I was influenced by that chef. So that's my dig.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I am so pleased to welcome all of you here. Now I'm going to go through your questions individually without having to introduce you again. So up next we have Jasmine. What would you say is the biggest issue in our community that is not being talked about or advocated for enough?
Oh, there's so many. To have to choose one.
Oh, let's have 2, but talk short about them.
Homelessness.
Yeah.
I think is the one major thing, and not just homelessness, but how we look at that and how we address it. There's too many. Take Philadelphia for instance. There's too many empty, dilapidated houses that nobody's doing anything with, while we have thousands of people on the street. It doesn't make any sense. And our mayor, city council, everybody says, "Oh, we don't know what to do." It's not hard. It should be a simple thing, right? So that's something that you don't you hear about it, but you don't hear solutions ever. And those who try to get something done have just not made it far enough. I guess another thing would be what one of the groups that I work with advocate for every day, and that's people having control of their healthcare.
Yeah.
We are beholden to insurance companies, doctors, and pharmaceuticals to decide what our health should look like instead of us having say so in it. And I myself have been to doctors who have told me that they know me better than I know me just because they went to medical school. And most of them I haven't known for long enough for you to have even a grasp on on me like I do. So I think those are two things that I think are very important that we don't hear enough about.
Thank you for lifting those up. Phoebe, next question for you. Besides from your lived experience, what motivated you to become a direct advocate for the trans community? Oh, sweetie, you're on mute. I want to hear all your brilliant words. There we go.
I think that when I was younger, I had a terrible experience with childhood, and I was like kicked out and began like sex work, and I started to see things that I didn't think I would experience, like transitioning. And I think I was always like, there's got to be a way to like change this. There's got to be a way to like affect this. This can't just be like the end all be all. And so I started to go to like different community events and start to hear different people. And I started doing advocacy through like HIV health. And that sort of like catapulted me into like just doing general advocacy for trans people, because there was just a lack of people that were trans in the space.
Yeah.
I think there was a very like elitist kind of like expectation for trans people to be in the space. You had to meet a particular bar. But yeah, I think that like it was basically the experience I had like doing sex work and kind of noticing things that weren't really effective for trans people.
Thank you. My next question is for Icon. Icon, you've been very active in conversations about racism within the local drag and burlesque scenes, as well as the overall queer and trans performance scene in Philly. Since the town hall, has anything changed in your opinion? You're in a safe space. You can be honest.
I would say some things have changed, but there's a lot of the same things and patterns and a lot of different. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. I'll say that. I kind of feel like we need to start addressing things like colorism. We need to address like, the difference between POC and Black when it comes to like, casting and equitable casting and, reaching out to different performers. I will say a lot of things have changed. A lot of things are better now, but there's always work still needs to be done. And things are not going to happen overnight, but we just got to keep holding people accountable.
That is what we're here for. Thank you. Marcus, question for you. How much has your lived experience influenced your goals in becoming a community chef? And what are those goals?
I was muted. That part. That's a great question. I think that by default in my lived experience, I ended up a community chef. And I don't think that it wasn't intentional, but I didn't even know that I needed to be a community chef for the sake that, honestly, there's not much representation for like Black trans chefs. And especially being like trans masculine and, having this passing privilege, like people often don't see me. They just see like the beard, the look, and they're like, oh, this gay guy or whatever. And it's like, no, it's a bit more to this than that. It's a smidge, missing something. But my goals are to truly create like a pathway for other Black trans queer chefs that want to pursue this line of like work in their passion. I have been only successful because of community, and I just want to give roses right now to Icon. for giving me so much spotlight in the beginning of my years, like 2 and 3 years ago, when I was really trying to gather this thing together and get it together, and giving me a place and community to shine and to meet people and to feed people and to promote who I was. So thank you, Icon. I love you. And it that was kind of my basis, because I feel like Icon knew everybody, so throwing me in the loop, I was like, the little short little light skinned dude coming to the party by way, you know what I'm saying? But it worked out, and I feel like my goals are now more accentuated due to that exposure. So if you didn't know Icon, now you know. And when people hear of me and they speak to me, they're like, "Oh, I was at that thing, that event that you were at. Remember that event? And I had your food, and you were so nice, and all these things happened." And so by default, my brand grew. And I think that those goals now stand to make us the same pathway that it was given to me, like through the same ways. Now, I don't throw the same kind of events that Icon throw. You got that. But I will say that there have been people who in community have come to me like, "Yo, thank you for being who you are, how you are, what you bring to the table as a Black trans person. And, thank you for inspiring me, because I didn't think I would make it in the chef world." I didn't think I would make it in the chef world either, I'll be honest. I thought that I was like, "Oh, this ain't gonna work. I'm gonna head out." But it kind of brings to me, if I can start some type of development program or apprenticeship of sorts for Black queer chefs that are younger than me, or older than me, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, older or in between, that want to learn the crafts and, the branding and the marketing, all the rah-rah stuff that goes into like what this looks like. I think that some of my primary goals would be to create that for sure, and to have that free. It's always hard to access things, especially financially, as a Black trans person. And it's been hard for me even. I think people think I hold a lot of privilege, and being light skinned and thinking that I can walk into anywhere and get whatever. And in some cases, it's true. In other cases, I'm also not getting the funding. I'm also not getting access to the grants. I'm also not getting access to the loans and things of that nature because of exactly who I am. So in a sense, I think that if I could create an overall fund, an overall program, overall, just like a general way of study in the chef world for Black trans folks, I think that would be beautiful. I think that would be something people would really appreciate. And I think that it coming, for us, by us, to us kind of thing, that always feels different, because the one reason I didn't go to culinary school was because I didn't want to learn from a cis-het white man how to make my food.
Yes.
You can't teach me how my ancestors cooked in Africa or India or Puerto Rico or Cuba or anywhere else that exists where POC folks exist or where Black folks exist. You can't teach me that. You're teaching me straight French technique that I don't need to know, because my people don't eat like you. You know what I'm saying? So it's inevitable that I will have to create this program. It's got to happen, because that's my primary goal. I think that I didn't know it was my goal at first. And I think in my head, I was like, I want a restaurant. I'm going to have the best restaurant in the city. Everybody's going to love me. And it was very self-centered to an extent. And then I was like, wait a minute. I think there's something missing here, because I can't do that without community. And I want to have a community-based eating establishment, if you will, that people feel more than welcome, like a community center for restaurant stuff. Yeah, I'll put it that way.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Can I just say that Marcus' food is bomb? So, has a lot to do with that too.
Thank you.
I love interpanel praise. Excellent. Jasmine, next question for you. What advice would you give to folks who are older and still hesitant about coming out, especially if they're parents?
I think first thing we need to do is get rid of this coming out thought, right? Heterosexual people don't have to come out. So why should anybody else? Like, when I decided that I was going to transition, and I decided that that I'm going to finally live my truth, it was less about coming out or anything. Like, my announcement was like, don't use this name anymore. This is my name. Don't use these pronouns anymore. These are my pronouns. As far as everything else goes, I'm not explaining nothing to anyone.
Mhm.
And don't have to.
Don't
Because
have to.
at the end of the day, the only people that I'm really worried about are my children. And they love me no matter what. That's been that I know. So my advice to people who are worried about, like, who feel like they need to transition or want to transition or just want to live their life the way they want to live it, don't let nothing hold you back. Not your kids, not your family, nothing. Because the people who really love you are going to continue to love you regardless of who you are or how you show up in the world.
If you can dream it, you can be it. Thank you, Jasmine. Phoebe, next question for you. Aside from being an advocate, you're also in the ballroom community. What would you say are the pros and cons to being part of ballroom? That's a big old question. You can also just say your favorite thing. Go deep.
Okay. I think that this is something that we often think about in the ballroom scene. There are some very like problematic frameworks, right? That are sort of built into some queer um, uh, queer experiences, specifically with ballroom. There's a lot of just sort of anti-Black kind of colorism things, and especially like in the recent years, there's just kind of been a co-opting of ballroom. Um, it's no longer the like underground kind of scene that it was. It's more of a place to be like discovered by like celebrities and stuff like that. So it's interesting. I think that often what we talk about is like how to give ballroom back the like glow that it had, where like competition was actually fun and interesting, and like there wasn't like a repetition of just like the same old things. But yeah. Did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
It does. Can you talk a little bit more about the difference now when it's more mainstream and people are trying to get noticed, but before it was underground?
Yeah, I think the competition edge of it becomes a little bit more aggressive, and so people are actually like getting hurt.
Oh.
So I think that a lot of people are just trying to like make it in like celebrity, like Hollywood, mainstream kind of thing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Icon, awkward transition, which is a sentence that I love to say. Would you ever be interested in competing on Drag Race or being cast in any of the reality TV shows or major productions? I promise it really is the next question. It's right there.
It's not an awkward question.
Okay.
I thought about it. You never know what might happen. I thought about it though. I will say never. It's many problems the show may have. It is still like it's a major platform. It's like the biggest stage. Like people definitely want to be in that world, and because unfortunately, like drag performers, since drag is like drag is popular and mainstream now. There's like a brunch every block, in any major city. Unless you're in the show, people are still not getting paid what they deserve. A lot of times, and a way to get out and travel and to be able to really be able to pay your bills is getting on the show, because even during the pandemic, drag performers that were doing like digital stage shows and stuff like that were still getting paid thousands of dollars. With me, no. So yes, I've thought about it, and yeah, I probably would. The only thing is just there's a lot of stipulations and stuff that makes me a little nervous. But they're opening up, for trans inclusion now, which is great. There's 4 trans contestants on this current season, which is
amazing.
Opening out. Currently
and rare.
Opening out.
Show's been around
trans contestants
forever.
of the season, so it's definitely like going to light a fire up my behind to do it.
Can you talk a little bit more about the stipulations that, if you feel comfortable, talk about the stipulations that are making you hesitant?
It's just contracts. This is like contractual things on there. It's like a lot. The contract is like a Bible. Yeah. I've read through it. It's a lot. And so that's the only thing.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you.
No problem.
Marcus, last question before our break. As a Black trans person, especially in an industry that is at times considered cutthroat, I'm going to believe that's the chef industry and not the being a fabulous Black trans man industry.
That part.
Right. Do you find yourself feeling that you have to be stealth in order to obtain and maintain employment?
In the beginning, I would say in the beginning I did. 8 years ago, yes. Now, absolutely not. I almost said some words I wasn't sure I could say. Absolutely not. I feel like there is like the conversation of being stealth for safety, which is very valid. I don't feel unsafe anymore. I think that I've kind of grown that other layers of skin that Black trans people do as they navigate the world. And I kind of, when I walk into spaces, you're actually pretty scared of me more so, and on purpose, right? It's not even stealth. I feel like I have to put on a like ultra macho thing, to like, don't even think about it, kind of situation, which also sucks. But I don't feel like I have to be stealth in the industry any longer. Are there times where I feel like, I don't know if I should do this event, or I don't know if I should, embark or engage with these people because of what they may or may not say, knowing or not, what I'm saying, the tea as we call it. In some of those cases, yes. I'm like, let me think about who these people are and where they came from, because I don't know what that might give. But at the same time, I don't know how to put that in. Like, I don't want to say mastered, because that's definitely not how that works.
Practiced.
I've practiced not having to, which I shouldn't have had to. But I've practiced not having to be stealth. And so I'm very openly trans and queer and all those things. And I feel like people they're almost taken back by the boldness of it. And so instead of them responding with the or the what do you mean and how did this and all these questions that they like to ask, it's like oh, okay, yeah, and it's done. And then it's over with. We don't have any more conversations. Or they don't know, or people say weird things about, like, I couldn't, whatever. But I don't feel like I have to do that now. So I think that's my final is I don't think so anymore. No.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Can you say a little bit more, if you're comfortable, about putting on that hyper masculinity in an industry that is hyper masculine? I mean, they're not playing football, but
oh god, it's worse than football. It's worse than football. It's so hyper masculine. I feel like so there's 2 dynamics to that. The first one is feeling softer.
Yes.
And having a softer approach to everything, and not understanding like how I'm supposed to show up. And that was again in the previous parts of my transition some time ago. And now showing up too hyper masculine in order to overcompensate for what I might receive. And that's the frustrating part. So I feel like, I feel like it's worse than football. Like, well, football is not even one of those things that, I feel like that's the least of the worries. Like the kitchen industry, as far as like literally my goal and my entire mission statement is to bridge the gap between Black trans chefs and the culinary industry. So, when I talk about how that looks like, even as far as how you, approach, what you look like, what you dress like, all of those things, I show up very macho, unfortunately. And I think that's another learned behavior as a Black trans masculine person. That is like, you better learn how to code switch. That's our version of code switching. You know, you better learn how to code switch so that you don't get sought out as even gay, right? Because then there's the question of, oh, you're black and gay, and in some sense, it's like, well, which one's worse? I want to be black and gay, or I want to be black and trans, and then I have to decide between those two because I'm all of those. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that is me, but then to the eye, right? What meets the eye and what people see as presentation, you know, of course, they are like, you know, they're going wherever they're going with that. So I will say that I try to diminish the hypermasculinity thing when I walk into spaces. And if I'm serving soft today, I'm serving soft. If I'm feeling like, you know, my chest hairs grew a little bit more this morning, that's how I feel. And so I show up how I feel instead of showing up how I think other people want to see me.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Patriarchy hurts everybody, y'all.
Okay. That part.
Ooh, okay, we are at our first break. Thank you all so much. This has been delightful. I think maybe we're going to have a beautiful little graphic pop up, and you'll have 10 minutes to do what you need, both the panelists and everyone watching. If one of the things that you need to do, folks watching, is give $5 to any of these beautiful people, go ahead and do that. It will be delightful. Give more than 5. I'm going to stop talking now. Welcome back, y'all. Oh, we have our Jasmine. Yay! Okay, welcome back to the 2022 Philadelphia Black Trans History panel. We've got 2 individual questions for everybody, and then our traditional ending question. So I'm going to give folks more time to dig into the more meaty questions we have now. Starting with, let's see, we've got Jasmine up first. How do you define community control as it relates to the nonprofit industrial complex or any other system that actively oppresses us?
Seeing people who look like us, talk like us, and act like us, being the ones who are making the decisions as far as what that organization is doing. Right now, even when you even when you go in a lot of nonprofits, you see people who look like us behind the desk, but when it comes to who's making the decisions, we're never in the room. And that's not community control. And I can think of one nonprofit that a lot of people are pretty familiar with, Philadelphia Fight. I've personally had my problems with Fight over the years, but the fact that HIV is a predominantly Black and brown disease, there is no reason why the CEO of that nonprofit should continue to be a heterosexual white lady. Like, she has the least amount of experience with HIV. I'm thankful for that activism that they did back in the day, but that's what HIV looks like. People who are HIV positive, people who this thing is affecting, look like me. And those are the kind of people that I want to see making the decisions on what's happening with organizations. Not not somebody who doesn't, I mean, really, she doesn't have a clue. And
Yeah.
she's not the only one. There's a lot of people in a lot of organizations like that.
Do you have any thoughts on how to start shifting that balance?
White
What
people
can
have
we
to be.
do for you?
No, it's not what we can do. It's what they need to do. This
Yeah.
system was
But they're,
built on supremacy and patriarchy, and it's time for them to step back and set and actively help to put Black folk and people of color into those positions. Because as long as we're just saying this is where we need to be, but they're not ceding that power,
yeah.
this isn't going to change. It's got to come from both sides. And we've been screaming from the rafters for centuries now that our voices need to be heard as much as everybody else's. So now it's time for the other side to step up and make that same plea.
Excellent. Thank you. Phoebe, question for you. As a public whistleblower for Attic Youth Center, how hard has it been looking for work now? And what advice would you give to folks who are thinking of becoming whistleblowers? Phoebe, you're on mute. I want to hear all your beautiful words. There you go.
Sorry about that. It was really tough looking for work. I feel like I was kind of blacklisted because the way that everything came out was through like a Facebook Live, and so that just kind of lived everywhere, sticking wherever. I also feel like when things like that happen, whistleblowers have a harder time finding work anyway, because their companies don't necessarily want their dirty laundry aired. So, but yeah, it was pretty tough finding work. A lot of the stuff that I ended up doing was more consulting based stuff and um, speaking engagements and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for folks who have knowledge of wrongdoing and are thinking of becoming whistleblowers? Like, what would you do differently knowing the after effects? How would you prepare differently?
I think that I would have stayed at the organization prior to the actual revealing of everything. I ended up leaving the organization because I was they were causing me like mental duress, and
Yeah.
um, they caused me to like ideate as well. Um, so I think if I had the chance to do everything over again, I would have stayed at the organization and actually like reap the benefits of the change that needed to happen. Um, which is not to say that like everything is like perfect now, but um, yeah.
Yeah. I can see why that would be the hard part of starting the big change, but not getting to enjoy the benefits of it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. Is there anything you'd like to say to local leaders in nonprofits who may be watching this?
I think for local leaders, the thing that I would have to say is you need to be very conscious how easy it is to fall into tyranny. You need to be very conscious of how easy it is to fall into anti-Black sort of frameworks and ideals and moving in ways that do not honor the people you serve. Um, I think that funding drives a lot of the negativity that kind of causes people to do some of the things they do in these organizations. But yeah, it was really unfortunate. It was honestly very unacceptable.
Yeah. The desire for money to make your nonprofit go is different than the desire to make your community safe.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop editorializing and move on to Icon. Question for you, darling. What advice do you have for folks who are interested in becoming a performer? That was a change in tone. There we go.
It really was.
Sorry.
It's a lot easier now to become a performer because we are in a world of social media and YouTube, internet. So there is plenty of resources out there, and there's like performers. There's a lot of performers. There's a new performer almost every day, which is great. We love spread queer creativity all across the lands. There's room for everyone. There's room for everyone. Excuse me. I would say take your time to figure out who you want to be as an artist or a performer. Don't just jump into, doing drag just because you see it on TV or you see it on Instagram. Figure out what makes you special and figure out what your what your goals are and what you want to do and have fun with it. Just have fun. Another word of advice would be definitely stick with people who are just going to look out for your best interests and is not going to take advantage of you and use you and exploit you and treat you a certain way. There's a lot of predatory people out there, and there's also a lot of predatory producers out there. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different funny people out there, as we all know. So, just stick with certain people. And, once you do that, like, go to open calls, go to open stages. I have an open stage every first Friday called Madhouse. And, people get to come out and do their own thing. And just go to shows, watch them. There's plenty of different shows out there. There's different venues out there now. There's a sober venue called The Painted Mug now that's doing shows if you're under 21. And, if you want to, there's shows almost every day in the neighborhood and other places. So go explore, have fun, experiment, create.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Question 4. Chef Marcus, aside from black, which is delicious, what other styles of cuisine do you enjoy cooking and experimenting with?
I would say so. I was trained by Latin, Asian, and Indian chefs. So, those are my other primary cuisines that I enjoy experimenting with, changing up, adding a little bit, Afrocentric culture back into them, and then taking it out and kind of playing with that. Um, that's the food I like to eat, but that's the food I like to serve, and everybody also likes to eat it. You know what I'm saying? Of course, with my little twist. And I love doing fusions, so I might do something that's Asian based, but I might throw in some African spices or do something Indian and throw in some Latin spices, and just kind of like I play with those flavors and those fusions. So, yeah, those are my 3 primary ones.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, last personal question before our closing. We're going to go back to Jasmine. Aside from being an activist, what are 5 fabulous things about you that many people do not know?
Well, I am getting my auto mechanic certification so that I can open a trans run garage that will be trans run, trans friendly. I'm a big gamer, like sci-fi nut. What's that, 3?
That's 3. You don't have to pick all 5. Those are great.
Yeah, I pretty much live an open book, so
Yeah. Oh, I see. It was the don't know about you part that caught you.
Yeah. Most people who know me know about me, and I mean, if you see me, I always have my tech. I always have my games with me. Usually, at least one of my children are with me, like, and I'm always out for the community. Like whenever I'm asked to show up somewhere, I'm there. So I don't really have many secrets.
Excellent. Can you tell me more about this amazing mechanic shop? Because I need an oil change.
Oh, I could do an oil change now. Um, but yeah, I'm in college now to get my ASC certifications, so that because that helps with like getting loans and grants and shit to open up businesses. But I want to open up a garage, and minus my oldest child who's going to school with me, everybody who I employ will be trans or LGBT, um, and we will be especially trans and LGBT friendly. But one of my thoughts was with opening that was I know a lot of people who do a lot of activism work, and we all drive cars that are breaking down, and we can't afford to pay nobody to fix them. So I saw a need, and I'm working to fill that need.
That is awesome. I can't wait. Do you have a name in mind?
No,
Okay.
no, not yet.
Suggestions in the chat, y'all. Name Jasmine's amazing garage that I want to go to.
Oh, somebody asked what my favorite game was.
Oh.
I don't have a favorite. I play pretty much everything: RPG, fighting games, action games. I'm not really into the whole war thing.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. All right, Phoebe. Fun question for you. Oh, that was a big loud sound. Is everybody okay? Did I do that? No. Okay. Outside of your amazing work in advocacy, you're also an avid reader. Who are your favorite authors?
Favorite authors? I definitely would say Octavia Butler.
Yeah.
I'm a really big sci-fi nut. Tomi Adeyemi. She's the writer of the Children of the Blood and Bone series. Amazing stuff. Those are my top 2 right now.
Excellent. Would you start a Phoebe's favorite books series? And can I join?
I can consider that. That would be dope. I've been missing reading. I think that I've been more into like articles than books, but I would like to get back into some novels or something interesting.
Because I still love this question, what would you name your book series? It could be called Phoebe's Famous Books, but that's hard to say.
That's cute. Yeah, or Phoebe's Fab Five.
There we go. We got it. Phoebe's Fab. That's my job today, is to name all of your new events. Okay. I will look forward to that. And I want to encourage you about the articles. A lot of good information comes in essay format. And for folks like Cecily with ADHD, it's easier for me to get through and discuss. So bring me the articles. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, Icon, fun question for you. I'm scrolling down my little list here. Oh, what inspired you to create and produce Freaking Queer?
So Freaking Queer started by a trans DJ. Her name is DJ Evil Evil B. It's been so long since I've seen her. Yeah, and I kind of jumped on board when I was, just starting performing, and I was invited to do some shows, and I used to do a monthly fundraiser event called Freak Boutique at Taboo, and the percentage of the bar sales went to a different organization every month, which was really cool. And I hosted that. And then I got invited to start doing the festivals. So everyone that was involved with the festival eventually moved on, and it will be moved. So I kind of got passed on to take over. But I took like a few years off because I was dealing with a lot of things at the time, and I wanted to grow as a performer and a producer. And I decided to return during the beginning of the pandemic because I felt like there needed to be an all-encompassing kind of a digital event for different principles of queer media and wellness and beyond. So I wanted to help people be able to, show their art, show their disciplines, and show their different talents on a major platform, or not a major platform, but on a wider platform.
Major
platform. Online, because it was just like drag heavy and music heavy, and I wanted people to get paid for the work that they do. So all in all, like Freaking Queer is just basically, all about queerness across the board, whether you're an artist, whether you're a chef, whether you are a yoga instructor, whether you're a healer, whether you are a spoken word artist, a filmmaker, and beyond, because, our community is dope. Like, we do so much. We have so much to share, and that's what Freaking Queer is about.
Excellent. Follow-up question for you. What are your top 5 Janet Jackson songs in order?
Yes. Ooh. This is hard.
You might have to sing the lyrics too.
What's that?
You might have to sing a little bit for us.
Oh, you don't want to hear me sing. Top 5. Number one will definitely have to be If. Number 2, All For You. Number 3, definitely Rhythm Nation. 4, Together Again.
Aww.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful song. And I have to give number 5, because I love a good smooth Janet moment. That's the way love goes.
Yeah. Wait, what's my job? I'm doing something. Okay.
That's the way love goes. It's just like it's just when you hear it, it just feels like a nice, warm Sunday morning.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, Marcus, your fun question. All right, listen.
Lay it on me. Lay it on me.
I don't know if I can say this as a light-skinned Black person. Hold on. In your professional opinion, where can raisins go if not in the potato salad or the collard greens?
Y'all, everybody just time out. Hold the show. I know you didn't just say if not in the potato salad or the collard greens. Y'all play too much. Well, in Middle Eastern cultures, raisins can go in rice, which is a very complimentary piece. There is a dish that is known as jeweled yellow rice, and it has golden raisins in it, which is delicious. I thought I was going to cry too, but it was great. You don't put raisins in nothing else. I don't even know what to tell you. Don't put raisins in nothing else. Eat them or put them back in the cabinet. Eat them by themselves in your hand. I'll eat me some raisins in my hand. I like raisins, but you don't be putting it in stuff. I don't know why people be doing that. I mean, maybe raisin bread. Like, like, don't put it in nothing else. That's it. Y'all play.
What about craisins? The little ones made out of cranberries?
Yeah. Well, that's not. Those are cranberries, though.
Are those okay?
You could put those in fruit breads, things like that. Yeah, I would put those in fruit breads. Some people put it in carrot cake. Some people put raisins in carrot cake, but like don't put it in my carrot cake. But some people do. Shout out to y'all.
All right, we've learned a lot. All right, it's time for my our traditional last question. It'll be the same question for all of you, and I'll go in the same order. Jasmine, how do you define your resilience every day?
I don't know. I just get up and go.
Yeah.
I don't. That's probably the hardest question you've asked. Because what most people see as resilience for me is just life. No matter what happens, what comes my way, I gotta get up and I gotta go because I got kids that rely on me. I got grandkids that rely on me. There's a whole community out here that if I don't show up, I feel like I'm letting people down. So regardless of how I feel, like I just sort of get up and do it. I never really thought about it as resilience so much as that's just me.
It's not new, but it's a buzzword for helping people outside our community understand what keeps our community going. Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah.
What refills your bucket? What gives you life?
Well, right now, every time I see one of my little grandkids smile at me, that is life for me. That warms my heart. Doesn't matter how bad my day is, what I'm going through. As soon as one of those two smile at me, I don't know, it just does something. Because where I come from, to have been born a Black male in the 80s in Jersey, or late 70s, early 80s in Jersey, I'm one of the few people I grew up with who's still alive.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of a good portion of my family now too, right? So I just like to see to have survived to see not just my children but my children's children is an amazing feeling.
Thank you so much. Phoebe, how do you define your resilience every single day?
I feel like that's such a tough question.
That's why we left it for the end.
Yeah. Like, think it is the brandish of confidence that you have to walk into the world with. I think much of what I've experienced throughout, like specifically with transition, is that there is a lot of stuff that will make you feel terrible. Dysphoria is really, really bad sometimes. Um, but there is like a level of walking into the world with a specific head held high kind of energy. Um, that comes with like learning about yourself and learning who you are and trusting that your own like intuition and stuff like that. Um, growing spiritually and things like that. Um, yeah, I think that is how my resilience is defined.
Thank you. Same follow-up. What refills your bucket? What gives you life?
Currently, it is similar to Jasmine. I recently became an auntie, and so like they are my babies, and they just like that. I have baby fever every time. Like then I know they look like to act like they don't know who I am, but um, they're they're learning me, and like we're also beginning to like talk because they're learning words now. So it's so cute. But, yeah.
Excellent. I love that smile you got there. Icon, question, same for you. How do you define your resilience every single day?
Like when Houston says, taking it step by step, day by day, mile by mile. I, you know, there's always something that happens every day, and I can't control. I can't control what's going to happen tomorrow. I can't control what's going to happen next month. All I can just control is um, how I decide to just move forward and exist in this world. Sometimes it's not easy to, bounce back. But, I take the steps, with therapy and with doing different means of healing and exploring new ways of making sure that I stay here on this earth.
Yes.
And just think about all the things I can look forward to, all the people that I enjoy seeing every day, all of the different things that I could do in the future, whether it's simple or grand. Thinking about those things and seeing people's faces and just looking at the positives in life, although life really sucks sometimes. It's just what it is. I think about the goodness of the community and my friends and my creative avenues and stuff like that. That's what makes me stay here and move forward.
You answered my follow-up already. That was amazing. The work of becoming a Black trans elder is amazing, and we don't have enough.
Thank you.
Okay. Marcus, same question. How do you define your resilience every single day? Sweetie, you're on mute. I can't hear your great, beautiful words.
Oh, sorry. My bad. I feel like I define my resilience by setting and achieving huge goals, that people otherwise would think that would be difficult or impossible for me, for a Black trans person, for whatever reason, because I don't understand how those things coincide. But for whatever reason, I feel like the bigger the goal I set for myself and I achieve them, and I achieved quite the amount, I think that holds a lot of my definition to resilience. Outside of that, I feel like I stay aware. That's the land of the definition. I stay aware. Self-awareness.
Yes, there you go.
Aware of self.
Big words, big words.
Big words. Gotta love it. Self-awareness. In many ways, outside of my transness. I think that people probably assume that all you think about in your existence is your transness, and actually, that's the thing I think about the least. Because it just is. It's just I just am. I don't really need to, go through but so much. And then outside of that, letting go.
Ooh.
We got to let go of a lot of stuff. We got to let go of, as a whole, as a collective, a lot of stuff. So my resilience is letting go. Like, I don't hold all of those things that would crush me and bury me and make me feel, like trash. I don't hold it. I don't accept it. And I feel like that's not easy for everybody, but for me and for my own personal resilience, I have to do that in order to also stay here and stay afloat and make things go the way I need them to go. Because overall, I think by default, unfortunately, a lot of us have to set the journey and set the pathway in some sense, and like in a way, sometimes it doesn't allow us to just exist. So for me, that's how I show up and define my resilience.
Excellent. Quick follow-up question just for Cecily. Letting go. I don't know her. How's that happen?
Was a real question?
It's a real question.
Okay.
All, but
letting
mostly
go.
Me. How do you do that?
Like,
do you have a practice? Do you have a meditation practice?
You about to turn on my motivational speaking voice. So, to be honest, yes, I do have a meditation practice, and I practice that very early in the morning at 5:55 a.m., if you must know. And outside of that, I choose how I respond, even in situations that, otherwise would provoke a lot of other things. And if I can hold on to me and my morals and what really matters to me in that moment, I feel like I've gone past the situation or past the person or past whatever, obstacle there lies ahead. So for me, the letting go is like, it is definitely a choice. You could choose to hold on or you could choose to let go, but I feel like that's a personal choice. Some people have had different experiences and they would ever use that kind of term, or like letting go. What does that mean? What does it look like? For me, when I say that, I'm really just saying, like, I'm not negating any experiences. I'm not negating anyone's, individual like past and how they've had to navigate the world. But I am saying, again, choosing how I respond and letting go afterwards. Once the situation is done or once the things have happened, I release it into the world. And that's how I stay.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah. We've learned so much from all of you. Thank you so much for your time today and for being here. I want to make sure, because I'm crass like that, y'all get a chance for some money because you deserve it. So I know that your Cash Apps and Venmos handles have been put in the chat. I'd like to give you a chance, going in the same order, to let us know what you're doing next. What your, like if we were on a talk show, this would be like, what is your next thing that has to be promoted? That's the word, promoted. I am not Jon Stewart. Okay, so Jasmine, would you like to give us any information for closing that helps us support you?
Yeah, I could shamelessly plug my GoFundMe that's going on right now.
Yes, please do it.
And it can be found on Facebook. I had we're talking about Black trans folk, right? And trying to be there for the community. And I tried to be there for somebody in our community who was on the street. And she stole my car
Oh, honey.
and some of my clothes. And I've gotten money back, through the GoFundMe that has allowed me to at least fix the car that I still had, but it's nowhere near 100%. And I really do still need to replace the car that was stolen, for the simple fact that the one I have is a stick shift. I'm the only person in my house who can drive it. I have four kids who live with me and two grandkids, and she stole my automatic. So if I can't take them, they can't get there unless it's by SEPTA. And we do not feel good with the grandkids being on SEPTA right now. So any help that I could get towards that would be greatly appreciated. And it can be sent to the GoFundMe. It can be sent to my Cash App, which is $ Miss Jasmine 2022, spelled just like my name. Yeah, I have a Venmo and a PayPal, but I don't know what they are right off the top of my head because
That's
all of that
okay.
stuff is new.
Tell me more about this Facebook GoFundMe. Is it under Jasmine Henderson?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And a lot of my friends have already shared it, so I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. But yeah, I'd originally set it for 5,000. I haven't quite hit that goal yet. But the money I made did at least allow me to put the car that I still have on the road.
Excellent. Thank you. Y'all check that out on Facebook, and let's get Jasmine over that line. Phoebe, same question for you. What can we support you with? What do you want to promote?
So I am currently recording an album. I'm really excited for it. It's my first time releasing music. So yeah, it'll be should be out during the summer, and the title will be The Edict.
Can you say that again, please?
Oh, the title is The Edict.
The Edict. I don't want to miss that. Okay. EDICT?
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything you need from us at the moment? I think you put a Venmo and a Cash App in the chat.
Yeah.
Excellent. There you go. Roses are $5. Yellow roses are $10. I made that up. It's fine. Okay. Icon. What's going on for you? What would you like to promote, and how can we help you out?
If you want to see like all the shows and everything else, you could follow me on Instagram at Icon Ebony Fierce, or you can go to my Facebook page at Icon Ebony Fierce. Yeah. Because I have a lot of things happening over the next few weeks. So I think it's easier if you just go to Instagram.
Okay. You don't want to promote one particular thing?
Yes. Tomorrow I'm at Frankie Bradley's. I'm doing a Jock Jams 90s theme dance music theme show at Frankie Bradley's at 8 p.m. And Saturday night I am at Broad Hall for a fun little queer dance party called Dungeon, which should be fun. That is at 10 p.m. And on Sunday at noon, I'll be at Taboo for Drag Brunch.
You are busy. Excellent. Thank you so much. Chef Marcoux, what you got going on? How can we support you?
So I actually just got this stuff today, but I am launching a premium dessert line known as Couzerts. You see what I did there? Marcoux and dessert. Yeah, got it. Okay, right. Known as Couzerts. So I just got my labels for the product labeling. And it is for folks with chronic pain. So there'll be a CBD feature to those treats. And outside of that, I am in the process of getting my first car. So my biggest deal right now to be able to deliver this stuff to folks until I can get on DoorDash, Uber Eats, and all those fancy little platforms. I will be bringing those things to the community myself. So it's also another means of income for me while I'm doing other things and kind of building the business. So I'm in the process of getting my first car. So insurance is a big deal for me right now. I'm first time getting a car ever. So I want to make sure that it's insured and I'm all good and legal and all that stuff on the road. So that's my biggest deal right now, is being able to afford the insurance note each month.
Excellent. You've got a Cash App and a Venmo that's been put in the chat.
I do.
Getting you road safe is very important because I would like dessert. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so we have some closing things. First, we want to thank our amazing ASL interpreter, Elsie. Woo! Here is how you can clap. There you go. Do like this. Woo! Good job. I'd also like to thank the Philly Trans March. Good job. And the Reclaim Pride Coalition for partnering with us and making this stream possible. So they're at I can't talk, y'all. reclaimpridenyc.org/donate. And for donations to the Philly Trans March, paypal.me/PhillyTransMarch. Y'all know that $5, if that's what you can give, is going to be helpful. Don't give more than you can. Ask your friends to give an extra $5. Talk to your people. Send these links out into the world so these fierce and fabulous Black trans folks can get their roses right now. All right, I'm going to check in with beautiful Philly Trans March organizers, Bree. Is there anything else that we should say to close out? Do you want to come on screen?
Hi, folks. I just want to also clarify because I understand that, like, generational differences. If you're like Black or in the community, yes, like $5. But if you're white, because it is Black trans history and reparations are old, $5 is not enough. You have the systemic resources to give more. So actually have the resources to give more than 10. So because again, Black trans folks need their resources. I also wanted to thank everyone for joining this panel. There is a lot of issues and tragedies going on that led to this, but we made it through and pushed it through. So I'm really grateful that everyone stuck by us through it all. So thanks so much to everyone. I also want to give everyone, including our fantastic moderator, a round of applause. I also want to take this time to kind of address something because we're getting some pushback from a respected organization, but they tend to be on the liberal side about the question of resilience and about how resilience requires harm. While that is true, I just want to remind folks that the forming of this country or just the system that we live in is just harmful. Indigenous folks haven't gotten their land back, and Black people have not gotten systemic reparations. So as long as we're living under these societies, because we are an abolitionist organization, it is necessary for us every day to find resilience or define resilience every day. So I just wanted to put that out there. But thanks so much, folks, for tuning in. And if anyone wants a detailed graphic for everyone's Cash Apps, Venmos, we will be posting a graphic in the event page. So look out for that, or we just make an overall post. And a month from now, stay tuned because we have a nice announcement. We'll be having our Trans Day of Visibility panel that will be moderated by the fabulous icon Ebony Fears. Announcements and details will be coming soon, but that is our next announcement. Our next event is going to be virtual, because of all the things that's going on with COVID. So that's what you can look forward to. But thanks so much, everyone. Please stay safe and take care of yourselves and have a great night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you again.